I'm gonna make another behavior number day. However, all of the cards are sheets of paper. Except for 500, 45, and 12. I'll use as much adjective as possible. Before I begin, I'll make the board bigger. Now let's start. 500 sent to heaven forever. 499 go heaven for 100 year. 498 go heaven for 95 year. 497 go heaven for 90 year. 496 go heaven for 85 year. 495 go heaven for 80 year. 494 go heaven for 75 year. 493 go heaven for 70 year. 492 go heaven for 65 year. 491 go heaven for 60 year. 490 go heaven for 55 year. 489 go heaven for 50 year. 488 go heaven for 45 year. 487 go heaven for 40 year. 486 go heaven for 35 year. 485 go heaven for 30 year. 484 go heaven for 25 year. 483 go heaven for 20 year. 482 go heaven for 15 year. 481 go heaven for 10 year. It is double. 7 plus 7 equals 14. 480 go heaven for 9 year. 479 go heaven for 8 year. 478 go heaven for 7 year. 477 go heaven for 6 year. 476 go heaven for 5 year. 475 go heaven for 4 year. 474 go heaven for 3 year. 473 go heaven for 2 year. 472 go heaven for 1 year. 471 go heaven for 11 month. 470 go heaven for 10 month. 469 go heaven for 9 month. 468 go heaven for 8 month. 467 go heaven for 7 month. 466 go heaven for 6 month. 465 go heaven for 5 month. 464 go heaven for 4 month. 463 go heaven for 3 month. 462 go heaven for 2 month. 461 go heaven for 1 month. 460 go heaven for 3 week. 459 go heaven for 2 week. 458 go heaven for 1 week. 457 go heaven for 6 day. 456 go heaven for 5 day. 455 go heaven for 4 day. 454 go heaven for 3 day. 453 go heaven for 2 day. 452 go heaven for 1 day. 451 graduate forever. 450 getting infinite subscribers. 449 1 trillion year off. 448,950 billion year off. 447,900 billion year off. 446,850 billion year off. 445,800 billion year off. 444,750 billion year off. 443,700 billion year off. 442,650 billion year off. 441,600 billion year off. 440,550 billion year off. 439,500 billion year off. 438,450 billion year off. 437,400 billion year off. 436,350 billion year off. 435,300 billion year off. 434,250 billion year off. 433,200 billion year off. 432,150 year off. 431,100 billion year off. 430,95 billion year off. 429,90 billion year off. 428,85 billion year off. 427,80 billion year off. 426,75 billion year off. 425,70 billion year off. 424,65 billion year off. 423,60 billion year off. 422,55 billion year off. 421,50 billion year off. 420,45 billion year off. 419,40 billion year off. 418,35 billion year off. 417,30 billion year off. 416,25 billion year off. 415,20 billion year off. 414,15 billion year off. 413,10 billion year off. 412,9 billion 500 million year off. 411,9 billion year off. 410,8 billion 500 million year off. 409,8 billion year off. 408,7 billion 500 million year off. 407,7 billion year off. 406 6,500,000,000 year off, 405 6,000,000,000 year off, 404 5,500,000,000 year off, 403 5,000,000,000 year off, 402 4,500,000,000 year off, 401 4,000,000,000 year off, 403 500,000,000 year off, 399 3,000,000,000 year off, 398 2,500,000,000 year off, 397 2,000,000,000 year off, 396 1,500,000,000 year off, 395 1,000,000,000 year off, 394,950,000,000 year off, 393,900,000,000 year off, 392,850,000,000 year off, 391,800,000,000 year off, 390,750,000,000 year off, 389,700,000,000 year off, 388,650,000,000 year off, 387,600,000,000 year off, 386,550,000,000 year off, 385,500,000,000 year off, 384,450,000,000 year off, 383,400,000,000 year off, 382,350,000,000 year off, 381,300,000,000 year off, 380,250,000,000 year off, 379,200,000,000 year off, 378,150,000,000 year off, 377,100,000,000 year off, 376,95,000,000 year off, 375,90,000,000 year off, 374,85,000,000 year off, 373,80,000,000 year off, 372,75,000,000 year off, 371,70,000,000 year off, 370,65,000,000 year off, 369,60,000,000 year off, 368,55,000,000 year off, 367,50,000,000 year off, 366,45,000,000 year off, 365,40,000,000 year off, 365,35,000,000 year off, 364,30,000,000 year off, 363,25,000,000 year off, 362,20,000,000 year off, 361,15,000,000 year off, 360,10,000,000 year off, 359,9,000,000 year off, 358,8,000,000 year off, 357,7,000,000 year off, 356,6,000,000 year off, 355,5,000,000 year off, 354,4,000,000 year off, 353,3,000,000 year off, 352,2,000,000 year off, 351,1,000,000 year off, 350,9,000 year off, 349,8,000 year off, 348,7,000 year off, 347,6,000 year off, 346,5,000 year off, 345,4,000 year off, 344,3,000 year off, 343,2,000 year off, 342,1,000 year off, 341,90,000 year off, 340,80,000 year off, 339,70,000 year off, 338,60,000 year off, 337,50,000 year off, 336,40,000 year off, 335,30,000 year off, 334,20,000 year off, 333,10,000 year off, 332,9,000 year off, 331,8,000 year off, 337,000 year off, 329,6,000 year off, 328,5,000 year off, 327,4,000 year off, 326,3,000 year off, 325,2,000 year off, 324,1,000 year off, 323,900 year off, 322,800 year off, 321,700 year off, 320,600 year off, 319,500 year off, 318,400 year off, 317,300 year off, 316,200 year off, 315,100 year off, 314,90 year off, 313,80 year off, 312,70 year off, 311,60 year off, 310,50 year off, 309,40 year off, 308,30 year off, 307,20 year off, 306,19 year off, 305, 18 year off, 304, 17 year off, 303, 16 year off, 302, 15 year off, 301, 14 year off, 300, 13 year off, 299, 12 year off, 298, 11 year off, 297, 10 year off, 296, 9 year off, 295, 8 year off, 294, 7 year off, 293, 6 year off, 292, 5 year off, 291, 4 year off, 293 year off, 289, 2 year off, 288, 1 year off, 287, 11 month off, 286, 10 month off, 285, 9 month off, 284, 8 month off, 283, 7 month off, 282, 6 month off, 281, 5 month off, 284 month off, 279, 3 month off, 278, 2 month off, 277, 1 month off, 276, 4 week off, 275, 3 week off, 274, 2 week off, 273, 1 week off, 272, 6 day off, 271, 5 day off, 274 day off, 269, 3 day off, 268, 2 day off, 267, 1 day off, 266 go home at 10 o'clock am, 265 go home at 11 o'clock am, 264 go home at 12 o'clock p.m., 263 go home at 1 o'clock p.m., 262.5 go home at 1:30, 262 no more home for the rest of the day, 261 no more home for the rest of the week, 260 no more home for the rest of the month, 259 no more home for the rest of the year, 258 30977355073920 Robu, 257 200 Robu, 258 100 Robu, 257,100 Robu, 256 50 Robu, 255 0.5 Robu, 254 2 sticker, 253 1 sticker, 252 50 cartoon, 251 20 cartoon, 251 cartoon, 249 tiny warning, 248 small warning, 247 little warning, 246 normal warning, 245 big warning, 244 giant warning, 243 mega warning, 242 terror warning, 241 serious warning, 240 very serious warning, 239 super serious warning, 238 super duper serious warning, 237 super looper duper serious warning, 236 lose 5 minute recess, 235 lose 10 minute recess, 234 lose 15 minute recess, 233 lose 20 minute recess, 232 lose 25 minute recess, 231 lose 30-minute recess, 230 lose 35 minute recess, 229 lose 40 minute recess, 228 lose 45 minute recess, 227 lose 50 minute recess, 226 lose 1 hour recess, 225 5 minute talk, 224 10 minute talk, 223 15 minute talk, 222 20 minute talk, 221 25 minute talk, 220 30 minute talk, 219 35 minute talk, 218 40 minute talk, 217 45 minute talk, 216 50 minute talk, 215 55 minute talk, 214 1 hour talk, 213 10 minute timeout, 212 20 minute timeout, 211 30 minute timeout, 210 40 minute timeout, 209 50 minute timeout, 208 1 hour timeout, 207 timeout until school ends, 206 timeout until midnight, 205 timeout until you die, 204 timeout for the rest of your life, 203 timeout for the rest of the world, 202 timeout until the end of your life, 201 timeout forever, 201 minute detention, 199 2 minute detention, 198 3 minute detention, 197 4 minute detention, 196 5 minute detention, 195 6 minute detention, 194 7 minute detention, 193 8 minute detention, 192 9 minute detention, 191 10 minute detention, 190 15 minute detention, 189 20 minute detention, 188 25 minute detention, 187 30 minute detention, 186 35 minute detention, 185 40 minute detention, 184 45 minute detention, 183 50 minute detention, 182 55 minute detention, 181 1 hour detention, 182 hour detention, 179 3 hour detention, 178 4 hour detention, 177 5 hour detention, 176 6 hour detention, 175 7 hour detention, 174 8 hour detention, 173 9 hour detention, 172 10 hour detention, 171 11 hour detention, 170 12 hour detention, 169 13 hour detention, 168 14 hour detention, 167 15 hour detention, 166 16 hour detention, 165 17 hour detention, 164 18 hour detention, 163 19 hour detention, 162 20 hour detention, 161 1 day detention, 161 week detention, 159 1 month detention, 158 1 year detention, 157 2 year detention, 156 3 year detention, 155 4 year detention, 154 5 year detention, 153 6 year detention, 152 7 year detention, 151 8 year detention, 159 year detention, 149 10 year detention, 148 15 year detention, 147 20 year detention, 146 25 year detention, 145 30 year detention, 144 35 year detention, 143 40 year detention, 142 45 year detention, 141 50 year detention, 140 55 year detention, 139 60 year detention, 138 65 year detention, 137 70 year detention, 136 75 year detention, 135 80 year detention, 134 95 year detention, 133,100 year detention, 132,150 year detention, 131,200 year detention, 130,250 year detention, 129,300 year detention, 128,350 year detention, 127,400 year detention, 126,450 year detention, 125,500 year detention, 124,550 year detention, 123,600 year detention, 122,650 year detention, 121,700 year detention, 120,800 year detention, 119,900 year detention, 118,100 year detention, 117 10,000 year detention, 116,100 year detention, 115 1 million year detention, 114 10 million year detention, 113,100 million year detention, 112,200 million year detention, 111,500 million year detention, 110 1 billion year detention, 109 1 trillion year detention, 108 detention until you die, 107 detention forever, 106 5-day suspension, 105 10-day suspension, 104 20-day suspension, 103 1-year suspension, 102 2-year suspension, 101 3-year suspension, 104 year suspension, 99 5-year suspension, 98 6-year suspension, 97 7-year suspension, 96 8-year suspension, 95 9-year suspension, 94 10-year suspension, 93 15-year suspension, 92 20-year suspension, 91 25-year suspension, 90 30-year suspension, 89 35-year suspension, 88 40-year suspension, 87 45-year suspension, 86 50-year suspension, 85 55-year suspension, 84 60-year suspension, 83 65-year suspension, 82 70-year suspension, 81 75-year suspension, 80 80-year suspension, 79 85-year suspension, 78 90-year suspension, 77 85-year suspension, 76,100-year suspension, 75,150-year suspension, 74,200-year suspension, 73,250-year suspension, 72,300-year suspension, 71,350-year suspension, 70,400-year suspension, 69,450-year suspension, 68,500-year suspension, 67,550-year suspension, 66,600-year suspension, 65,650-year suspension, 64,700-year suspension, 63,750-year suspension, 62,800-year suspension, 61,850-year suspension, 60,900-year suspension, 59,950-year suspension, 58 1,000-year suspension, 57 2,000-year suspension, 56 3,000-year suspension, 55 4,000-year suspension, 54 5,000-year suspension, 53 6,000-year suspension, 52 7,000-year suspension, 51 8,000-year suspension, 59,000-year suspension, 49 10,000-year suspension, 48 20,000-year suspension, 47 30,000-year suspension, 46 40,000-year suspension, 45 50,000-year suspension, 44 60,000-year suspension, 43 70,000-year suspension, 42 80,000-year suspension, 41 90,000-year suspension, 40 1,000-year suspension, 39 2,000-year suspension, 38 5,000-year suspension, 37 1,000,000-year suspension, 36 2,000,000-year suspension, 35 5,000,000-year suspension, 34 10,000,000-year suspension, 33 20,000,000-year suspension, 32 50,000,000-year suspension, 31,100,000,000-year suspension, 30,200,000,000-year suspension, 29,500,000,000-year suspension, 28 1,000,000,000-year suspension, 27 2,000,000,000-year suspension, 26 5,000,000,000-year suspension, 25 10,000,000,000-year suspension, 24 20,000,000,000-year suspension, 23 50,000,000,000-year suspension, 22,100,000,000,000-year suspension, 21,200,000,000,000-year suspension, 20,500,000,000,000-year suspension, 19 1,000,000,000,year suspension, 18 2,000,000,000,year suspension, 17 5,000,000,000,year suspension, 16 10,000,000,000,year suspension, 15 20,000,000,000,year suspension, 14 50,000,000,000,year suspension, 13,100,000,000,000,year suspension, 12 200,000,000,000,year suspension, 11 500,000,000,000,year suspension, 10 1,250,000,000,000,year suspension, 9 1,000,000,000,000,year suspension, 8 suspension until you die, 7 suspension for the rest of the world, 6 suspension until the end of your life, 5 suspension forever, 4 punishment day, 3 dead meat, 2 sent to hell today, 1 sent to hell for 2,000 year. Now last one.
Semen and save dead meat, and you are expelled forever and get sent to hell forever, never, never, and ever, and I never see you ever again.
Thanks for watching the longest behavior number day I will ever make. I filled out some spots already. That is all for now. This is me signing off.